Like, is there one match I can say that? Oh, that Duggan match.
Yeah, Duggan, I can't say I'm a fan of his, but he's always been harmless. I like him. He's just a goof. He's just a harmless America-loving goof. He drinks beer and punches people who don't love America too, or who are black. He's crowing in the background, of course, like rooster crowing. Then this fucker comes out with like the selective spikes, and he's kicking his goddamn feet like a chicken, or like he's a crack addict, or both.
Hercules got traded like a slave. I don't even know if in that time frame that was an appropriate thing to say. They said different things in whenever this was, in the 80s or late 80s. But even back then, maybe it's like traded like a juice box.
To our wrestling rewind.
WrestleMania. Five time.
And the event is built around the Mega Powers exploding. Mega Powers, of course, being Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Hulk Hogan.
Yes, with the little explosion and sound effect when they said that.
Yes. So Monsoon gives a long-ass introduction. I think he ran out of breath at some point during it. And then they move to the ring where Rockin' Robin is going to sing America the Beautiful. And America did not sound very beautiful coming from Miss Robin.
And they said she was the world champion too.
Right. So last year we got Gladys Knight kicking the song's ass. And this year we have the WWF Women's Champion embarrassing herself, her employer, her family, and her country. Jesse Ventura said that she needs to stick to her daytime job, and I appreciate that he keeps it real.
Well, I was going to say how bad it was, and then everybody started shitting on it. So I was like, oh, well, I guess
yeah,
I guess it's well known, so I don't have to really do my thing.
And fun fact, Rockin' Robin was Jake the Snake's sister.
Oh.
And fun fact, she was allegedly diddled repeatedly by their father, Grizzly Smith.
Well, that's went deep to find that out.
Oh no, it's common knowledge.
I didn't even know Jake had a sister. I didn't know it was that common.
Yeah, apparently Grizzly Smith. Well, no, never mind.
Yes, tell me in grave detail what he did to her.
No, well,
spare no detail.
It was more his wife. Allegedly, she was underage. Allegedly, it wasn't consensual.
Golly.
Yeah. Anyway, King Haku with Bobby the Brain Heenan versus Hercules. Haku is using the King music. Harley Race, he was doing the King gimmick. I heard in a shoot interview, Haku said that Harley allowed him to use the King gimmick when he left. I forget the circumstance. Heenan is asking everyone to get up and bow to King Haku, which prompts a shit ton of boos. Hercules is too focused on Heenan, and King Haku attacks while his back is turned. Hercules gets the advantage, hits Haku with a couple of elbow drops, then inexplicably goes after Heenan. Haku goes for a diving headbutt from the top rope and misses. Hercules then hits a belly-to-back suplex and bridges up for the win. It's an okay match.
Yeah, so-and-so match. Hercules is a face now, which was weird. I guess it wasn't weird, but,
Didn't something happen at last WrestleMania? Yeah, well, it's Hercules. It doesn't matter.
No, but Gorilla Monsoon said they traded him like a slave, which was a jarring statement. Hercules got traded like a slave. I don't even know if in that time frame that was an appropriate thing to say. They said different things in whenever this was, in the 80s or late 80s. But even back then, maybe it's like traded like a juice box.
I don't know. Maybe because he had the chains on.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense. Traded like a slave because he has chains on.
Yeah.
So you're just saying just in general.
Yeah. Oh. I was just thinking he could have went so many different directions with it.
To me, Monsoon just seemed like he just said whatever was on his mind. He didn't really think too much about it.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a okay match.
Mean Gene talks to the Rockers. The Rockers being Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. So this is the Heartbreak Kids WrestleMania debut. And to me, it looks like he's wearing a wig.
That hair was out there.
Michael says that they're grease lightning and they're going to come out on top. Jannetty says that they're going to have to rock and roll and strut and stroll to beat the biggest tag team in the WWF. So next we have the Twin Towers, which is Akeem and the Big Boss Man with Slick versus the Rockers. And I like the early tag team strategies the Rockers had when they would kind of sneak attack the guy standing in the corner. So they'd engage in some offense on whoever's in the ring and then just randomly drop kick whoever's in the corner or punch them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I noticed a lot of teams kind of did that, so I don't know if that was just the Rockers. They were first, at least tonight. I like that they all did the double team moves. The Towers, of course, relied on the power, while the Rockers relied on the speed and agility. They both seemed to work well as teams, which I appreciated. It almost looked like the Rockers are going to pull it off with this double missile dropkick they hit on the Big Boss Man, but Akeem breaks up the pin. So then Michael goes up top again on the Big Boss Man, but this time he's caught and he's hit with a Boss Man slam. And then Akeem hits his Air Africa for the win.
It was a pretty good debut, though.
It wasn't too bad.
There was a point where Hakeem clotheslined Shawn Michaels and Shawn Michaels sold the shit out of it. It even got like a audible gasp from the crowd. Like, oh, did this just turn like this create a new style of overselling? I don't know.
Possibly.
Because it did look great for him.
I don't know. It was hard to, for me at least, it was hard to gauge with Michaels one way or the other. Early Michaels. Although he was wrestling two giants. What was he going to do?
Yeah.
He was wrestling two giants in the 80s when everything was about giants.
Yeah, nothing he could have done.
Right. So Tony Schiavone talks to the $1 Million Man backstage. Schiavone brings up Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who knows about strutting and cutting. $1 Million Man says tonight Beefcake meets his destiny. They have $1 Million Man versus Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And then DiBiase is the only one to not have theme music up to this point. And it just seems like Vince is really getting our balls blue for that Money, Money, Money theme song.
Yeah.
I swear, if we only get that for one WrestleMania.
No, we'll get it a couple. As the best early theme song in history.
I don't know. We heard Bret Hart's theme.
I didn't like that version of Bret's theme.
It was very dated.
Yeah, it was. Well, I don't want to do the thing, but
there wasn't any edge to it.
Yeah, I like the more electric guitar one.
The Jim Johnson version. Yeah. Beefcake's ring attire was probably the most subdued it's been in his WrestleMania history. Kind of boring, actually. His
cheeks were pretty much almost out.
Yeah.
Like he had the mesh, see-through mesh on the sides, all the way back to like the inner part of his ass cheeks.
Well, it was like that last year.
Not as much, though. Or maybe it's because it was smaller circles that it wasn't as bad, I guess.
Yeah. I'd have to compare and contrast. I remember his shit was all cut up. He just had the zebra print and it was pink.
Oh, brute eye, as Gorilla Monsoon would say.
So I thought this was an okay match, although I'm not really liking Beefcake with the faces and the gyrations and all that shit.
I was okay with it.
So we have $1 Million Man. He whips Beefcake into the ropes to go for a backdrop, but Beefcake counters into a small package. And I actually thought that was going to be a finish, but nope, only a 2 count. Then DiBiase knocks Beefcake out of the ring. Virgil starts pummeling him. And this was the first time I've really taken a good look at Virgil. He had some guns.
Yeah, he did. That's why he's the bodyguard.
Yeah, it's a shame he's regarded as a kind of a joke. So Beefcake, he's getting his ass kicked, but then he just stops. And then he turns around like he wasn't just getting his ass stomped. And he chases Virgil. And then $1 Million Man clubs Beefcake from behind, and they brawl to a countout. And then Beefcake takes out $1 Million Man. And then he chases Virgil into the ring and then hits him with a sleeper hold. DiBiase tries to help, but then he gets taken out by Beefcake, who goes for his hedge clippers. And then DiBiase and Virgil run.
And they kept saying, he picked the wrong one because he had Virgil, who was bald. Like, he picked the wrong man that time. But yeah.
All right, so Lord Alfred Hayes has brunch with the Bushwhackers. Hayes asks them a bunch of questions with their mouths full of food. I guess this was supposed to be funny.
Yeah, they were just like moaning with the food in their mouth.
Well, it
was very primal, as they said.
Well, it was also very forced because Hayes would ask him a question and then he would like just intentionally put food in his mouth then. Instead of, I don't know, Hayes asking him a question while he takes a bite or I don't know.
Well, I just thought it was a choking hazard. Like, you're stuffing all that food around you.
Oh, yeah, there's that too. They don't seem to be concerned about their health. So the Rougeau brothers faced the Bushwhackers. The fabulous Rougeau brothers. Dumb fucks in the audience were doing the Bushwhacker arm thing. I thought they looked stupid and lame. Audience participation's bad, folks. Don't do it. Don't have fun.
Yeah, just go sit there on your hands.
And golf clap.
Yeah.
This was a nothing match. Probably the most entertaining part of it was the bit at the beginning where Jimmy tried to get his jacket back and the Bushwhackers threw the Rougeau brothers into him. And then the Bushwhackers win with the battering ram, and then they lick each other. And then the Bushwhackers licked some guy, and then they licked each other some more.
And I think they actually licked tongues at one point.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I was just thinking, this can't be over fast enough. This whole thing. I remember back then, the Bushwhackers were like, okay. First of all, I didn't know they were from like Australia or wherever they said.
New Zealand.
Yeah, New Zealand. Didn't know that they were American.
Nope. They're New Zealand boys.
I remember as a kid, I was like, okay with them, whatever they were. But watching this now is like, oh my God, I cannot watch this for like however long this match is. It's too long.
I actually kind of liked them, but not tonight.
Yeah. And I did say maybe it just needs another match because, yeah, this was not, it really wasn't a wrestling match. It was a comedy show or something.
Really, all of the wrestlers that I remember enjoying when I was younger, I'm not so much of a fan of now. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So after that, Mr. Perfect faced the Blue Blazer. For those not in the know, the Blue Blazer was Owen Hart, brother of Bret Hart. And then Monsoon has the audacity to say that Mr. Perfect's tights are flashy after 5 fucking years of Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And I thought it was a shame that Owen's first match was with the WWF under a mask.
Well, it's good that you confirmed that was Owen Hart. I thought it was, but I didn't know.
Yeah, he was the Blue Blazer.
I remember he was, obviously at the end there, but I was like, is this Owen Hart?
He started off as the Blue Blazer, and then he became, Bret's brother. And then I think after Bret left, rumor has it that it was kind of a punishment for Bret leaving.
Oh, you getting back on that damn mask.
Yeah, get back to that gimmick you hate.
Yeah.
And rappel from the ceiling. I don't want to do it, you pussy.
And then it backfired.
Yep. Fortunately, he had a fantastic match with Perfect. Not a whole lot of flash, but it was just great watching a match between these two since they've been lionized.
I always thought Perfect was, one of the better wrestlers.
I liked him, yeah. I liked his Perfect Plex.
Yes. Probably the prettiest move in the WWE.
And I liked when he did the redneck gimmick in WCW where he'd say rap is crap while singing a really shitty song.
Oh, I don't remember that so much. I'm sure we'll get to it.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Those will be the dark days of WCW. So Blazer hits Perfect with a crucifix pin for a 2 count. And then Blazer starts to question the referee. And then Perfect hits his Perfect Plex for the win. And Perfect just hops out of the ring and walks away like it's just another day at the office.
It was. He was undefeated to this point. So he kept the undefeated streak going. And yeah, this was probably up until the point the match of the night. No, not probably. This was the match of the night up until this point. That Owen Hart kid.
It wasn't even because of the match. It was just because of who was in it.
Well, I thought they worked a good match together.
It was a good match.
Yeah. Like Owen Hart was really cruiserweight. He was doing crucifixes and Hurricane Ranas and doing the little flip thing to get out of the arm hold. So yeah.
Yeah, he was definitely a high flyer.
Yeah. For me, this was the most entertaining match up until the point.
Agreed. So Finkel announces Jesse Ventura so he can pose and be cheered for.
Yep.
Actually, he said, I have a surprise for you, Monsoon. And they announce him so he could wave and pose. He said, I got you, Monsoon. You were fooled.
He just kept saying, they love me.
So Alfred Hayes talks about a 5K run for some reason. And then Mr. Fuji is announced as a last-minute contestant. Mr. Fuji says he's participating in the run to prove that his boys, the Powers of Pain, can be tag team champions. Now, I didn't quite follow that logic. Did you?
No, I didn't follow it, really. So he's trying to say, he's got the stamina. I guess it made more sense when we found out that he was in the match.
Yeah, in hindsight. Okay, fair enough. I didn't think about that. The race starts. Fuji runs before the race officially starts. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, he got a head start. Always the heel.
Yep. And then it cuts to Fuji just simply finishing the race. Like he wasn't first or second. He just simply ran the race.
Yeah.
Lord Hayes has a hard dick over how good of a shape Fuji's in. Fuji says, "Superior shape. I tell you, Lord Hayes. And my powers of pain are in good shape too." I just felt like this could have been a normal backstage interview without the 5K run bullshit. That's just me.
Well, Fuji
But
was in great shape, I'll tell you that. To have run that whole
yeah.
marathon without breaking a sweat, and his gear and his jacket and stuff was just amazing. So it
Yeah.
is good that we got to see that. Didn't break a sweat at all. No, he did break a little
No.
bit of sweat, but his eye makeup was still on. Like you think he would have sweated that off, but nope, not him. And ran a whole 5K and didn't even sweat off that eye makeup.
Yeah, it's almost like they didn't put too much thought into that. So Ren DMC does a WrestleMania rap. I'm just curious why the fuck they had Rocket and Robin sing America the Beautiful when they had real musicians present. Now I know Run DMC, they're not known for their harmonies and shit, but there's no way they could have done worse than Rock and Robin.
Right. Yeah, she did bad.
And I just want, and instead Vince probably overpaid them a lot to just keep saying WrestleMania over and over and over again.
True.
And I skipped most of the second song. I'm not much of a Run DMC fan.
I didn't skip it, but I literally couldn't understand a word they were saying. You know, it was the 80s, so the PA system or whatever wasn't clear. So I didn't understand what they were saying. I was, yeah, I got no words out of what they said.
What song did they sing?
I don't even know.
Besides Walk This Way. No, not at WrestleMania. What song are they known for?
Yeah, Walk This Way. It's tricky.
Okay. I was like, man, I can't for the life of me think of a Run DMC song.
They got the Christmas song. That one's a pretty big one.
Well, Mean Gene, he raps with Demolition. Mr. Fuji apparently turned on Demolition by attacking Axe with his cane and then scoop slams Fuji outside the ring. And I guess the powers of pain pick up Fuji and dust him off. And they're a team now.
Yeah, this happened at like Survivor Series or something.
Yeah. So Powers of Pain and Demolition already had a match that ended with Axe beating the shit out of everyone with Fuji's cane until Fuji throws ceremonial salt into his eyes. So they cut to Mean Gene, who asks about the Powers of Pain and their title defense. Axe and Smash call Fuji the Stooge a bunch of times and say they're going to take care of business. And that's that. So Powers of Pain and Mr. Fuji had a match with Demolition. So Warlord grabs Smash's arms. Fuji tries to throw salt in Smash's face, and it hits Warlord instead. And Demolition hit the decapitation on Fuji for the win. And I could not get into this match to save my life. I watched it about 3 times.
Yeah, it was just there for me, kind of.
Yeah. So Tony Schiavone's stalking the Macho Man backstage. The Macho Man's dressing room door is like already cracked, so Tony just goes inside. And the Macho Man goes all Blair Witch and then calls out Hogan while standing atop a bench. Dino Bravo with Frenchie had a match with rugged Ronnie Garvin. And Bravo looked like he was 60. He was rugged. Garvin had the ugliest, most unique white trash haircut I have ever seen in my life. And I appreciated just how it looked like he took great care into that.
The bleach blonde mullet.
With the I don't know, it had the angles and the back. It almost looked like he had a rat tail too. We used to do rat tails where it's like these little ponytails.
I think I remember those.
At the very, very bottom of the hairline, you just let that grow out and shave the rest.
My.
Yeah. I'll send you a picture sometime. You got to see it to appreciate it. I think Billy Ray Cyrus had a rat tail. He may have started it.
I wouldn't put that past him.
Yeah. So Superfly Jimmy Snuka comes out, and he doesn't look nearly as good as he did at WrestleMania 1. And then Snuka just leaves. And I thought this was a great match until Garvin chops the shit out of Bravo and then proceeds to slam his head in the turnbuckle the softest way possible. It looked like he was trying to like lay him down on a pillow like a child.
Yeah, it was a little weak on those.
Yeah. Garvin tries to, because it looked like they were really like punching each other, but then, whoa, no, can't do the turnbuckles realistically.
Yeah, why stop there?
Yeah. or just don't do it.
Or maybe he was so thick, it was just hard to do it to him. I don't know.
Or maybe his back is hurting or something. Garvin tries to go for the 10 punches, but on Bravo in the corner, Bravo counters into an atomic drop and a sidewalk slam for the win. Bravo winning came completely out of nowhere, and Garvin attacks Bravo from behind and then starts beating the fuck out of Frenchie. Garvin does the Garvin stomp on Frenchie, ending with a stomp on his face, while Frenchie just convulsed.
And later, Randy Orton will start doing those type of stomps.
Yes, and better. No, I think that was pretty good. That was more brutal.
Yeah, like some of those were like, yeah, they look pretty nasty.
And then did the close up with that foot in Frenchie's face. Just looked sick.
Yeah, and his leg is shaking, convulsing.
Yeah, it reminded me of that scene in American History X.
The curve.
Yeah. And Gorilla Monsoon called the sidewalk slam a suplex.
He did.
Just wanted to point that out. Next, we have the Brain Busters, which is Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard versus Strike Force, which is Rick Martel and Tito Santana. And I believe this is their only WrestleMania appearance, they being Arn Anderson and Tully.
That's a shame.
This was
we got all the moments, good moments.
Yeah, this was a great match. Arn Anderson put on another masterclass. I am so sad that we did not grow up in his era. Like when they did the double figure four in the middle of the ring, Arn Anderson, he thumbed whoever was holding Tully, because Tully was the legal man. He didn't care about himself. He cared about the match.
Yeah. He broke his partner
Yeah. And then Arn holding Blanchard while Santana tried to do the monkey flip.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Everything he did just had a purpose, and he was the most entertaining to watch, and certainly the most believable.
Right, yeah.
So midway through the match, Martel gets a blind tag on Santana. Santana is being held by Blanchard, or was it the other way around? I think Blanchard's holding Santana.
Martel's holding.
Yeah, Rick gets the blind tag. Santana breaks free. He goes for a flying forearm to Blanchard, but he ducks, and then he hits Martel as he's getting into the ring. And this one forearm is enough to take Martel out of the match completely.
He sure did.
Yeah. Later, Santana tries to tag Martel in, but Martel walks down the apron and eventually leaves the match. And it's pretty much academic at this point. Anderson hits a spine buster on Santana. Anderson and Blanchard beat on Santana for a while before hitting a spike pile driver for the win. Mean Gene later yells at Martel in the back. Martel says Santana got what he deserved because he's been carrying Santana. He's sick of it. Martel was doing great as a single until Santana decided to ride his coattails. Mean Gene says, "But Rick, you two are a team." Rick says, "No, we're not a team. I don't associate with losers. Santana's lucky I didn't do more damage and that I just walked off."
And I learned again that Rick Martel is not American. Or maybe he is, but I don't know what that accent was.
He's Canadian.
Okay. Just another thing I learned. It's like, what the hell is this accent? I don't remember him having an accent. But then I thought about it. I was like, oh, well, I never really remember him doing promos.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
Okay.
All right. Up next, we have the steaming pile of shit that is the Piper's Pit.
Oh, Jesus. This, for me, is what really threw it off the rails, the show.
Yeah. So Piper's music plays, but Piper doesn't come out. It's Brother Love. Brother Love comes out and he does this, "I love you." Made me want to kick him in the balls. And he proceeds to have an imaginary interview with Roddy Piper. So, however many fucking decades this was, they're still fucking doing that shit today.
It's probably his idea, too.
Probably. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. So, the crowd hated this. They started off by booing, and then they just stopped reacting altogether. Then, Morton Downey Jr. comes out, and he's running with a cigarette in his mouth. Do you know who Morton Downey Jr. is?
I don't.
Morton Downey Jr. was a talk show host. He was kind of like the pre-Jerry Springer.
Okay.
His downfall is he did kind of like I don't know if you can call it a race hoax or not, but he said a bunch of Nazis attacked him or wrote a swastika on his forehead. But the drawback was that the swastika was backwards. Like he drew it on his forehead
Like
through a mirror.
You forgot to flip it.
Yeah. So he was kind of exposed for that. But yeah, that's Martin Downey Jr. He's kind of a sleaze. So Love and Morton, they get into a war of words. Then the real Roddy Piper comes out. And at this point, I say, what the fuck is this? Now, I will say, Piper looks goddamn badass. And I think it's the hair. It's that feathered, he looks like a lion.
Yeah.
Piper makes fun of Love, and then he says he has Betty Davis knees. And the Piper says he doesn't know if Love's face is red or if he's just scared. And Love says, Piper can't scare him. And then Piper goes, wow! And then, of course, Love runs to the corner and is scared. And I wrote, fuck Vince McMahon. And I underlined that twice.
Well, you didn't point out that Piper spends way too much time trying to look up his skirt.
Oh, my God. And then Love tried to do it, and he goes, you do that, and I'll bite your face off. So Piper rips Brother Love's kilt off. And then he runs to the back in his underwear.
Yep.
Again, fuck Vince McMahon. Sports entertainment. This is what you like. This is what you. Yeah.
This is not my sports entertainment.
Yep, enjoy.
This is sports entertainment. This is not my sports entertainment.
It's all in the same umbrella. So Roddy talks to Morton, and the thing is, Morton keeps blowing cigarette smoke in Roddy's face.
Which Monsoon kept calling it weed.
He did keep calling it weed.
Like, he's smoking that weed.
Morton insults Piper's mom, and then he compares him to a transvestite. And it just ends with Piper sprays Downey with a fire extinguisher. And he actually tried to shove the nozzle up Downey's ass. Almost saved the segment for me, but not so much. And then later, some guy had the balls to ask Donald Trump what he thought about WrestleMania after showing that shit.
Yep.
Fortunately, Donald was polite. We just show you a goat fucking a pig. What'd you think? What do you think about the show so far? God damn it.
It felt like that segment was like 25 minutes long, too.
Oh,
I was forever. Like, it's never going to end. Way too much Brother Love, because he's doing his little voice thing through the whole thing. So it's like, okay, I've heard this enough. And then, yeah.
And then the back and forth between Piper and Downey, that could have been like cut in half.
Yeah, that went on too long. First of all, I was like, why is that guy there still?
Why was he even there?
Yeah, he's just sitting there smoking cigarettes and then...
Yeah, chain smoking.
Yeah.
And then he got up with a stupid little grin.
And while... It was funny, too, because... So while Piper is running down Bruce Pritchard, or Brother Love, sorry, the guy is like throwing cigarettes the whole time while they're doing their little segment. And then there was one time where he throws the cigarette and it hits Piper and then it falls on the floor and Piper picks it up and gives him like a death stare. And then, yeah, he keeps on going with the segment with Bruce Pritchard and then finally goes through that other stuff. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it just felt like it went on forever.
That's because it did. And again, I'm just surprised that they asked the guy hosting the event, the most powerful guy in the area.
Yeah.
Oh, what'd you think of that?
Yeah.
So they replayed the rise and fall of the Mega Powers. Macho Man won the belt at WrestleMania 4. Then it cuts to the Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks at SummerSlam 88. And Ventura was the only man for the job, according to President Jack Tunney, to be the referee for this big match. And it ends with Ventura not wanting to count the pin when Hogan was pinning, I think it was Akeem. And it shows Savage forcing Ventura's hand down for the 3 count. Then it cuts to Survivor Series, and a beaten down Macho Man is saved by Hogan. Then it cuts to a Saturday night main event where Akeem and Bossman have Hogan beaten down, and they have Elizabeth partially handcuffed, and Savage comes out with a chair to save the day. Then it cuts to a Superstars where Savage is pinning Akeem, but Bossman clubs him with a nightstick. This time Hogan does the saving with no chair. Then it cuts to the main event where we see Savage thrown into Miss Elizabeth. And then when it cuts to Hogan carrying Miss Elizabeth to the back while Macho Man is just pacing back and forth in the ring, all pissed off that somebody would care for his woman's well-being. Later, Hogan tries to tag Savage, and Savage just slaps Hogan in the face and leaves. But Hogan probably still won the match. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it is.
Let's be really honest. Yeah. He beat 10 guys up at once.
Yeah.
Then it cuts to the medical area. I'm presuming after the match, Savage and Hogan are arguing, and Savage says he beat Hogan one-on-one. Then Hogan pleads with Elizabeth to talk some sense into Savage. Savage, in the softest way possible, hits Hogan with his belt, and then he proceeds to beat his ass.
The mega powers have exploded. Yeah.
Mean Gene talks to a pissed off Hogan after the clip of the mega powers exploding. Gene says, man, what a difference a year makes. You were by his side. The mania was a little bit ahead of the madness, which of course Hogan would see it that way. And Macho Man made me believe he was in my corner. That's why we stuck together for so long. Gene says Savage committed the high crime of insulting the Hulkamaniacs. Hogan says, fuck the Hulkamaniacs. Savage put Elizabeth between us. Hogan then says Savage couldn't handle the load or the pressure with his jealousy. Hogan says Savage was never in his corner and is a cheap shot artist. But just like Donald Trump, Macho Man, I hope you're ready, brother, because Donald Trump has questions in his own mind. He sent a whole team of seismologists out here to check the foundation of the Trump Towers, because when the mega powers explode off a launching pad, brother, as we erupt over the whole Atlantic City, he was worried about the foundation. He was worried that the thousands of people in the arena might become unseated and swallowed by the earth. Donald Trump, don't worry about my Hulkamaniacs. They're survivors. They're ready. But you, Macho Man, I don't care where you stand. I don't care what you believe in. All I want from you is your best. I want you to be ready. I want the Macho Madness at its peak, because when the Hulkamania rules, when Hulkamania lives forever, when Hulkamania puts you down on your knees, I want the whole world to realize I beat you at your best. And in the end of WrestleMania 5, I will be the World Wrestling Federation champion. And what you got to do, Macho Man, when the whole world full of Hulkamaniacs destroy you?
And that was Hogan. Another wild out promo that he's finally circled back to the Macho Man.
I can just see him leaving the backstage area after that, then going to Donald Trump and then cradling him in his arms and kissing him gingerly on the forehead, saying it's going to be okay, Donald.
Yeah. But it's funny that a year later he found another way to work Donald Trump's thing into the promo.
So Andre the Giant versus Jake the Snake Roberts. Big John Studd is introduced as the special guest referee. Andre comes out with Bobby Heenan and no music, which it makes sense for him, I think.
Yeah.
Andre and Studd, they have words. Then Jake comes out with his music, which that might be good debut music too.
Yeah.
So Andre takes off the turnbuckle as Jake comes out. If you have an eagle eye, you'll spot that. Or if you rewind it 6 or 7 times looking for when the turnbuckle came off, because as soon as the match started and as soon as Jake set foot in the ring, Andre drove him face first into an exposed turnbuckle. Now me, I don't have an eagle eye, so I had to rewind it and watch it like 8 times to figure out what the fuck happened. Finally, I spotted it. Did you see it?
No.
Yeah, as Jake is coming out, it does like a wide shot, and Andre just casually puts his arm over the rope and takes off the turnbuckle.
Look at him. They do things like so inconspicuous back then.
So Andre gets Jake into a sleeper hold. Jake breaks free. Then he goes for the snake, and then Andre gets him into another sleeper. Then Andre gets caught up in the ropes with his little thing. You know, if you wanted to present something as a legitimate sport, because I think they are at this point. It's still real in the 80s, you know, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to present it as a legitimate sport, would you continuously do the same little arm hooky thing?
It seems like that's their like go-to thing for the big men, because every big person, Big John Studd, Andre the Giant, I think Hakeem even had it happen to him too. It's just
He did it at Super Brawl.
Yeah, that's just what you do. You got to get stuck in the rope. That's your big man spot.
I'm just saying, like once I could see happening, but like every single match you have, bro, really? Anyway, Jake gets some free shots in, but Andre ultimately snatches him. So like he's punching him, and then Andre just, nope, gotcha. So after a bunch of choking and big man shit, Jake rams Andre into the exposed turnbuckle himself. And then Studd and Andre get into it, so Jake can get his bag of snakes. And then Stud yells at Jake, and then Andre inexplicably strikes Stud for like no reason. Then DiBiase attacks Jake and steals his snake bag. I don't want to say his snake because that sounds perverted. Jake chases the $1 Million Man while Andre beats the fuck out of Stud in the ring. Then Jake throws the snake into the ring and Andre retreats very, very slowly. If that snake wanted to kill Andre, it would have got him.
Yeah, Andre wasn't moving very good at that point in his career.
No. Jake is awarded the DQ win. Then they cut to some guy sitting in the cheap seats, and he asked a fan what he thought about Jake and Andre, and all he can say is Jake is the best over and over again.
Yes.
Then Tony Schiavone talks to Sensational Sherry. Sherry talks about Rockin' Robin, says she can sing as good as she can wrestle. She said it sarcastically. Then she says, I'll be taking her title. And then Sherry talks about how she's more fuckable than Miss Elizabeth, and then laughs at the Mega Powers exploding. And then we never see her or Rockin' Robin again.
Like in WWE at all, or just that night?
That night.
Oh.
It made it seem like that there was a match brewing.
No, she said when she was ready.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Oh,
or
okay.
Not when she was ready. She said something like that. When I'm ready to wrestle, I'm going to take that title back.
Yeah, this may come as a shock, but I wasn't really paying attention.
I wasn't either, but I was like...
I mean, I was paying attention to Sherry,
maybe,
just not what she was saying.
Maybe she isn't so bad, Sherry.
Her face is a little sister cousin-ish.
I could see that, yeah.
But the rest of her, and she seems like the type that would do things that would make your toes curl.
Or you gotta like sing.
Yeah. Your eyes roll in the back of your head like, please stop. No. Hold on.
You gotta tap out.
Let me catch my breath. Hold on. Not so fast. Please. Please.
Okay.
Where you sound like the Yes. So Greg the Hammer Valentine and Honky Tonk Man had a match with the Hart Foundation. WrestleMania debut for Bret Hart's music and his sunglasses. I believe. I don't remember him wearing the sunglasses.
Yeah, that might have been it.
So there's a moment where Hart whips Valentine into the ropes and then launches Neidhart at him. I thought that was really cool. Then Honky hits Hart with his shake, rattle, and roll, but instead of going for the win, Honky tags in Valentine, who tries to go for a figure four with a brace over his calf so he can break Hart's leg, but Hart reversed it. Neidhart gets Jimmy Hart's megaphone and then tosses it to Bret so he can nail Honky Tonk with it. And he does so, and he gets the win. I thought it was a good match.
Yeah, it was a pretty good match. I didn't know if the Hart Foundation was heel or face, because that's definitely a heel move. But they're slapping hands when they came out, so I don't know.
Right. I think they were the faces for this match.
Okay.
At least. So Ravishing Rick Rude versus the Ultimate Warrior. This started at Royal Rumble, and it was during a muscle montage that Warrior won. And Rude attacked Warrior with a steel pipe, and he choked him with the steel pipe that seemed to bend and bounce around like steel rubber or foam. So Warrior regained consciousness and then beats the shit out of everybody trying to help him, and that's kind of what happened there, I guess.
Yep, that was the build for the match there.
So Rude comes out and tells all the danglers to keep down while he takes his robe off and makes the ladies wet. Match starts off with Rude trying to hit a knee while Warrior still had the belt around his waist. Nice creative way to start a match. Monsoon called a Russian leg sweep a neck breaker. I don't think he knew his wrestling moves.
Yeah, he was calling stuff off all night.
Warrior goes for a apron suplex and Heenan grabs Warrior's leg, so Rude falls on Warrior for the pin, and he wins the match. And then Warrior beats the shit out of Heenan after the match. And I'm not sure if it was this match, but I believe in an interview Heenan said Warrior fucked his neck up. Like he told him to watch his neck, and he didn't.
Well, that's just one of the many stories that come out about the Warrior, I guess. Him not being safe or whatever.
So Hacksaw Jim Duggan had a match with Bad News Brown. I think this was the only match where both competitors didn't come out to music.
That's correct.
And I thought this was awesome. This was just a fight. Absolutely no wrestling holds. It was just kicks and fists. And it seemed like every time Duggan got a head injury, he would yell, "Ho!"
I felt like he was doing that before, like every time he did a punch,
Probably.
or like
He did it a
in
lot.
between
That was
his moves,
thing.
he was like, "Oh, boom!"
So Brown goes for his ghetto blaster and misses. Duggan hits his 3-point clothesline and sends Brown out of the ring. Then Brown says, "Fuck this," grabs a chair and gets back into the ring. So then Duggan, he says, "Fuck this too," and he grabs his 2x4. So then they proceed to have a sword fight with their weapons.
Yes.
And then the bell rings. So both men, they drop their shit and they continue to fight. Duggan hits an atomic drop and hits Brown with the 2x4. And the ref announces both men were DQ'd. Duggan literally blew snot bubbles. Ventura called it out plain as day. I thought it was great. You said you hated it.
I didn't say I hated it. I just said I couldn't get into it because Duggan kept doing the ho between every punch, and I was thinking,
Well,
am
I
I
mean-
even a Duggan fan? Like, I don't know. Then my mind just started going. Like, is there one match I can say that? Oh, that Duggan match.
Yeah, you know, Duggan, I can't say I'm a fan of his, but he's always been harmless. I like him. I'm not necessarily a fan. I like the whole America thing, and he is what he is. The first match I've ever seen him in, he's been the same as the last match I've ever seen him
Yeah.
in. So he's been consistent, if anything.
Yeah, there's that.
I know what I'm getting with a Duggan match.
He's just like a harmless, just there.
He's just a goof. He's just a harmless America-loving goof. He drinks beer and punches people who don't love America too, or who are black. I'm assuming that's what the feed started over. Well, Mister, we don't take kindly to your kind around here. Oh! So Mean Gene, he's in the back with his cock, and by cock I mean the Red Rooster, and he's crowing in the background, of course, like rooster crowing. Like, then this fucker comes out with like the selective spikes, and he's kicking his goddamn feet like a chicken, or like he's a crack addict, or both. The rooster says he's going to teach Heenan something Heenan's never taught him, and that's how to lose. And the rooster says that when he's done with Heenan, there'll be nothing left. And it'll be a great day at the barnyard, and everybody will be going, "Arr, arr, arr." Red Rooster had a match with Bobby the Brain Heenan. And Heenan comes out with the Brooklyn Brawler, still selling the attack from the Ultimate Warrior. And Heenan in the Andre singlet was great.
Yeah.
Just him in the wrestling attire in general is fantastic. And Heenan cowers in the corner, gets his head smashed into the turnbuckle a few times, then gets beaten up into another corner. Heenan hits one Irish whip, and then goes for a shoulder charge. Rooster moves, sending Heenan into the ring post. Rooster gets the pin for the win. Brooklyn Brawler beats that ass post-match, and then Rooster ends up chasing both off for some reason. Then bobs his head like a fucking chicken in the ring.
Yeah, what a cluster of a match.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to rewind it like 3 times because I didn't see the finish. It's literally one of those blink and you missed it type finishes. And then they didn't show a replay.
It was what it should have been.
Yeah. And then, when they showed the replay, it was only the Brooklyn Brawler attacking. So I was like, well, what was the finish? It was really over that quick? Yeah, it was.
Yeah. It was great. I mean, in terms of a wrestling match, it was great. Just the Red Rooster thing.
Yeah, you didn't want to see them go like 20 minutes.
Right. So Mean Gene talks to Miss Elizabeth. Gene says to Elizabeth that this has got to be the most difficult time in your entire life. Then he shoves a microphone in her face. Elizabeth says she's going to be in a neutral corner and supporting both competitors. She says it's a shame Savage and Hogan have to settle their differences through fisticuffs, and she can only pray that neither man are seriously hurt. And this was the weirdest fucking promo I've ever seen in my life. She either sucks or she was reading her lines from somewhere.
Probably reading.
Or they were being fed to her. So then it cuts to Tony Schiavone, who says the locker room is empty because no one wants to miss the Mega Powers exploding. Some guy asks the fans who's going to win the match, and they scream incoherently. So I don't know what the fuck they said or did or whatever. And he's like, oh, it's a split decision. And finally, after some highs and lows and some shit, mostly shit, we have Macho Man Randy Savage versus Hulk Hogan. And I'm not sure why the fucking champion came out first. I really hate that. And I appreciate that Ventura called that out. And Miss Elizabeth comes out surrounded by a bunch of sausage, which Savage must have loved. And just see him seething by the monitor or something. Ooh, when that bitch gets home. So Hogan came out, and the pop didn't seem as big this year. They were cheering for him, sure, but like the initial cheer just wasn't as impressive sounding to me.
I had the audio issues, so
Okay,
I couldn't really
that
tell.
could have been maybe.
Like the PA system was off this night.
Gotcha. So the match starts. Hogan charges Savage, who jumps out of the ring and grabs a Hogan foam finger, rips it in half, and then gets back into the ring. That was like all in like 5 seconds.
That's Macho Man.
Savage makes Hogan bleed. Monsoon's like, he's bleeding profusely. Well, this little trickle is running down his nose. At least stop the match and check him. Why this little paper cut?
Well, he's a franchise. You gotta protect him.
True. So Hogan picks Savage up and tosses him outside the ring. Elizabeth tries to help Savage, and he says, "Don't touch me, bitch!" Then Hogan tries to ram Savage into the ring post, but Elizabeth blocks him. Savage gets out of Hogan's hold and then shoves him into the ring post, not giving a shit if Elizabeth is there or not. Then Elizabeth helps Hogan, and this pisses off Savage. Savage starts shoving Elizabeth and then like awkwardly cupping her chin. His thumb is on her chin, and his forefinger is under her chin. He's like, ooh, and then he has a fist drawn back. He's cupping her chin and he wants to hit her in the face.
Well, we're just gonna hit her.
So Savage axe handles Hogan while he was leaning over the guardrail, and they played like Hogan hit his throat, even though his head was nowhere near the barricade. It was a foot away. Then Savage starts doing nothing but throat-related offense, which I thought was great. And then Savage hits his elbow, and of course, Hogan has to kick out just at 2 and starts hulking up.
And finally, we get a good, clean Hulk up.
Yeah, but it was just, of course, it had to be the elbow drop. So then Hogan does his thing, and then after one leg drop, which would hurt far less than an elbow drop, by the way, an elbow drop from the top fucking rope, Hogan wins. And Hogan tells Savage to get the fuck out of his ring so he can pose and dance to his music.
And he is now, I guess, 3-time champ. Hulkamania is alive and well.
Sounds about right. So that was WrestleMania 5.
That was WrestleMania 5. Like I said, it was a tough show for me. There's a lot of down moments, a lot of matches that were just there. But there were also some good matches, good moments. So, but I'd lean more towards the bad than good.
I'd say WrestleMania 4 right now is the standard.
Yeah, that's my top of the list, WrestleMania 4.
Yeah.
But we'll see what WrestleMania 6 has. But before that, we go to Uncensored 1996.
Oh, yeah. I was kind of peeking at this one. Oh. Loch Ness versus the Giant. And then we have, oh, you'll love it, the steel cage thing.
Well,
what do they call it?
I'm actually kind of excited about it. Well, not excited, but it sounds like a deal. Loch Ness versus the Giant. It's interesting. It's a big meat slapping.
Yeah. Well, if anything, it'll be short.
Yeah.
The Doomsday Cage match.
Oh, sounds interesting.
Yeah, where it's where Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage faced off against the Alliance to end Hulkamania. And it consisted of Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Lex Luger, the Taskmaster, Ming, the Barbarian, the Ultimate Solution, and Z Gangsta, which was Zeus.
All them versus 2 people?
Yeah. And Hogan and Savage had to start at the top of the 3-tiered structure, and on each level there were members of the Alliance waiting for them. And the structure featured scaffolding with steps on it. It was like a little obstacle course. And I'm sure at some point Macho Man like twisted his ankle or broke a nail and he couldn't continue. So Hogan had to fight all of the Alliance by himself. While Macho Man just cried, "Elizabeth, dig it." I don't know. I remember watching it, but I remember it being shit.
Well, we'll find out this week.
Yeah, we will deep dive into it.
Yes. But on that note, if you agree with anything, let us know in the comments. If you disagree with anything, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Follow us on all the social medias: TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Spotify if you're an audio person. And until next time, Top Guys out.